Okay, Greeks. Okay, so explore Chinese pyramid energies. Um, I think I've done this a long time ago. I don't really remember. I didn't research it, and if I have or not. But so it feels like when I first tapped into it, obviously, yeah, China's keeping a lot of stuff quiet for obvious reasons. There's someone that's out there for whatever reason. Oh, interesting. Might not be might not be going to. I think usually this goes to Facebook. Yeah, it looks like it's not working anymore. And I just checked it. I don't think it is anymore. The connection must have been pulled. Oh, yeah. Nope, it's not working. Nope, it's not working. Interesting. It used to work. I'm pretty sure yeah. I guess I got disconnected from it. That's how convenient. I just checked it. See if it was working. So fascinating there. Check I don't know if I can check the other one. So it's not going to my profile page. And it is going to my regular page though, so it is working somewhere. The profile is not working. Fascinating. So I can get an indication about that. Anyway, not a big deal. That's kind of odd. It's just weird. I just checked that. Anyway, so yeah, the Chinese pyramid energies. I felt that there was this. I felt sacrifices on it at one time. It definitely has a portal Stargate frequency. Fritz is here to be a pain in the neck. Comes at all the wrong times. At least her approach is kind of off, but anyway. Yeah, I felt sacrifices at least at one time, a dragon energy, obviously a portal frequency. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that. I don't know if there's any tomb. Obviously, must be some kind of tomb inside of it, but of course, they have several. Pyramids there. They're just not. I still feel the Bosnia one's the strongest from the feeling I'm getting from that. There's definitely a lot of reptilian energies around it. They're just, of course, China is not. Well, they don't publicly talk about it for various different reasons. No surprise there, right? There's just something there they're keeping quiet, it seems. Now, do they know anything about it? I would imagine they have some idea of it. They're just something like if they don't do anything around it, it doesn't get leaked out, something like that. There's definitely a lot of Zeta connections around it too. Yeah, a portal. I mean, it was like think of like a pyramid on our planet and a pyramid on another planet. And it's like we're transferring a civilization here, depending on how you want to look at that one. So obviously there's histories we can only go into so far for this here to entertain us. So that and there might be other Chinese pyramids to go into. I think this is the largest one. I don't know. It's not that clear. They don't want to make it clear. It's not a tourist attraction. If you're spiritual, they probably. I mean, it is a spiritual area, but I don't feel how many people travel to China to see something like that. I guess Egypt's just easier to get to for obvious reasons. And also ESP energies, what's happened to that again. 5D frequency kind of give it a bit of a theme. I felt 5D. I mean, you can always do 4D. Some feel like they're in a 5D, and they probably are. Of course, there's a 5D ego that some are connected to. But definitely there's many that are in the 5D frequency for whatever reason. So it's happened to those, and it's funny, yeah, the skeptics that are out there that are crying all the time, some of them don't even have abilities, which is interesting. But yet they're the expert of all this. It's like, okay, more power to you on that one. But obviously, it's never perfect tapping into 4D realms, spirit realms. Never, it's not supposed to be. I mean, it can be, but obviously we have so much. We have to figure this out physically. We can't know everything for obvious reasons. If we can connect to the 5D, for example, our world will be going very quickly right now. It'll be just at a faster frequency. And everybody here pretty much will be high as a kite. So are we healing the reptilian energies or this is reptile school. We're just learning from this school for the lower dimensions or the learn about the lower dimensions. I mean, obviously. And it's good to know these things too, because when you go into the 5D, at least you know, where there isn't so much, a level where there's not so much lower frequency, at least you can know what it looks like and have some, be able to pick up on it to some level. Well, to just protect yourself, wherever it might be, because you can get so high in the clouds. Yeah, you can't see the lower dimensions so quickly, but then they can come out of nowhere and cause you difficulties. So, and they can drag you to this world. Like we have abductions here, but they have abductions in the other, 5D, 7D, whatever going on with that. Yeah, but I think human trafficking is not us in our world. So it's probably some kid's cartoon that's talking about it right now somewhere that nobody believes in, or just nobody's picking up on it. So it's never going to be perfect. Not this. You just have to do the best you can. And the Book of Enoch, interesting. I had like a synchronicity there. Just I picked up on the Book of Enoch, and then I found the Book of Enoch when I wasn't looking for it. So that's before I made this. So I tap into more of the Watchers. I'm not going to tap into the Book of Enoch itself. Not today, at least. Of course, I think Enoch is connected to Metatron. Metatron doesn't exactly have the best track record. Not really. Well, he's part of this grid, this, our matrix deception. Apparently, he's involved with it. Not everybody can take that in, but he doesn't exactly have the best vibes there. I remember channeling him way back years ago in the webinar. This is a long time ago, and his energy was not well at all. That was unique. So, yeah, I never had that with anybody. Just, of course, about angels, was it Ariel? It just didn't care. Like channeling Ariel's energy, and Ariel's like, okay, what's your question? Can I leave now? Shit, that was different. That was a while back. You don't get that very often. So the other ones are a little bit more patient, usually, at some level. All right. I'll go into the Chinese pyramids and see what we got there. Just kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can tap it. If I remember, I can do something tomorrow about it. Too, there's other ones to tap into. Tarot.com, private sessions. I have a schedule. I have a shop here. Webinar, social network behind the scenes. The pyramids here. This is the one I'm talking about. It's in the thumbnail too. I think that's the same one. I don't know. I can't tell. Then you have the other ones here. I don't want to get too confused here. They talk about the White Pyramid, but I thought this was the White Pyramid. Well, people have been seeing white pyramids, but I don't think there's a white pyramid anywhere, like physically. I don't know. Yeah, so those, I don't know, whatever. And there's Egypt. And there's Mexico. So yeah, they're getting all over the place here. So we'll just happen to one that might be the last one. We'll see. It does have healing abilities, especially when you're there physically. They might be a reptilian energy that shows up, not necessarily a negative nature. You say the pyramids are brought here to shut down the earth. It's like the moon. That wasn't the idea in the beginning. Way I look at it, the pyramids are like energy portals. Yeah, they're for teleporting and telepathy, like to help increase our abilities because Atlantis was starting to lose its frequency, and the pyramids came in kind of to boost our energy up. And some of them are used as weapons. We said survive them getting there, but however you want to look at it, it could be a psychic weapon, whatever it might be. I mean, it's multi-dimensional, so I imagine most people are right, or everyone's right to some level. We're never really going to know. They're just keeping the history. Well, you just tap into history as best you can. Either way, it's all about now. So the Chinese pyramids is interesting. If that's ever, if they ever started talking about that publicly, I don't know if I would even trust the Chinese government. Half truths there. Of course, even in Egypt, I think they're not always going into that either. But anyway. All right. Okay, we're going to Chinese pyramid energies, then ESP, 5D frequency, and the Book of the Watchers. Basically, not Enoch so much, but the Watchers themselves. So, okay, all right, blessings. Greece, you the consciousness of the Chinese pyramids. That's not everything is supposed. It's supposed to be mentioned here for obvious reasons. Think of like your society as a pure energy, as its highest frequency. No problems. Yes, we can levitate, walk through walls, walk through matter, and just feel a energy of peace. So the history of the pyramids are connected to that frequency. A high fifth, sixth, seventh, ninth dimension. It goes on and on. It can channel many energies from the higher dimensions. But it's harnessing higher frequencies, but it's doing it more on a physical level at this point. Well, it knows that, because the pyramids are brought here, it knows it's there to harness energy from the higher realms. As you see, they're aligned with the constellations, and it has a purpose for that. So, but again, it's assisting the Earth in its, in its physical form. So it is, you can say, technically a magnet. Of course, it all depends on who's speaking there or who sees it that way, but it is part of all pyramids of the Earth are assisting the physical realm currently. Yes, and harnessing higher frequencies, similar to like the trees and nature itself. But the pyramids itself is really helping humanity follow it's very much connected to, of course, the Akashic record frequencies, also your main timeline. There is like at the end of it's a gateway or a stargate for alien life to come here. They're not going to show themselves, but it is a doorway here for sure, especially for reptilian beings, as if they're keeping an eye on the planet. And many of them are not judgmental of humanity. They know what you need to go, but of course they do bring their challenges here. But they just know that the higher education of this planet is so necessary for their growth and yours, and other extraterrestrials. So to not to say that reptilians are the only ones that do this, but there are, let's just say that start with the reptilian beings are known to take alien beings from other realities, as some of you probably tapped into this, and kind of force an incarnation here, you could say. It is an agreement, and I mean it's maybe not the agreement many like, but this is part of human trafficking. Alien life is brought here also, uh, for schooling, for higher education. Yes, it might be a torturous life to some level. Uh, many beings need this for their growth process. And here I can say there are beings that do refuse to come here. Now some find a way not to come here. Like they see it coming. It's like, oh, I'm going to be dragged into Earth, aren't I? They see it coming and they change their ways. They warn somehow so they don't have to have an Earth incarnation. Without going into details of that, doesn't mean that they have your experience, but they get their act together. Let's put it that way. And there are others that desperately need this world for their growth. Can't get it together. Some arrogant energies, and these are the aliens that come here. That are technically forced here. Technically, I mean, there's, like I said, there is an agreement there. Well, let's put it this way: if they cross the line, they get sent here. Automatic. It's like they already kind of if, once again, they don't get their act together. Now, obviously, some of you why half the universe. There's a lot of beings that are here that need this planet for just basically clarity. Cut out their, as you call it, shenanigans. Does it work here? No. Well, it takes a couple of lifetimes depending on the situation. Yes, there are souls that incarnate here that are sent right to prison. Meaning they're like old juvenile hall kids. And they go right into prison. Well, some of them like the vibes of it, and some just need that growth. As some of you probably have tapped into, the universe is not exactly perfect. As you know, the fourth dimension has some difficulties there. So this world is a cure for many souls and their shadow ways, you can say. What's this? Brings you consciousness of the ESP frequency, the 5D frequency, energies from astral. So those of you that incarnate here, yes, to open up a door to the astral realms just slightly for those that are here in the physical realms. Just to lighten. It's like opening up a window, let them breathe. Those that want to breathe easier. And truth of it, it is good that souls are not looking for help. Well, meaning that they already looked for help and now they feel like they can get themselves together to a certain level, which is good. The idea is for them to walk this route without, falling. So it's good they're starting to rely more on themselves. So that's a positive side of it. There's still a lot of negativity, obviously, with the world itself that's not looking for assistance. and many of those that aren't looking for assistance incarnate here over and over again, depending on the situation. Well, not looking for some kind of clearing, because you ask for assistance, you can clear a blockage, so you don't have to repeat the same timeline over and over again. Some actually enjoy it, as some of you have noticed. And some might ask for help and so can't seem to get out of the cycle that they're in. Those are having like job situations. Yeah, they're having trouble keeping a job, or sometimes it's like jumping or jump from job to job. Sometimes it's like a lily pad, like you jump from one reality to the other, and you're kind of looking for that reality that synchronizes with your frequency. It's like a job, a relationship. You might jump from one to the other. Like relationship, you might jump from one relationship to the other. You're just looking for the right frequency to blend in well with. Same thing to do with the job situation, as many are finding it difficult with the job situation. Of course, many do just reject the job situation here, which is another story there. Well, many are remembering their lifetimes on other worlds where they don't have to do anything. And is a set, well, it's part of like a reset eventually. That, well, they're just looking for something that gives them some motivation, and they haven't quite found it, so they're just going to wait until that happens. And yes, you can wait forever in that regard. But those that have become homeless are always finding, some of them are finding some constructive ways of making it work, but also rejecting this world's lifestyle, you can say, or control system. And sometimes that it helps them cross over to the realm where they don't have to have all these restraints to program in the physical realm. So those that go homeless, not all, but some of them, they reject the matrix programming. Now, some of you are using it, like you obviously need to survive, but you're also like healing it at the same time. And some of you might notice that it's like it's like a ladder. You're working with what you have. But it's not, you need to, to help others, you have to just, work with what you have, the system itself. It's not necessarily a negative. It can be heavy, but it's necessary for growth. It's just, on the timeline, the matrix timeline, as we'll just call it the matrix, everybody's on different levels of it. So if you totally reject it, it's hard to connect to those that need assistance. Of course, there's other ways of doing it, but those of you who are trying to reach certain people, living in the matrix has a purpose. It's like a puzzle, but you're actually, or a maze. You're there to reach somebody, to assist them, whatever it might be. If that makes any sense, anyway. Blessings. Greetings to you. We are the Watchers. We are the Owl Collective. How many of you see owls very often? But when you do, it's a unique experience. Owls that some of you might see owls all the time, and you get spoiled. But that's also an indication that you're a watcher yourself. It's actually quite rare for owls to be seen in the public. But in your soul growth, yes, it's a necessary planet for various different reasons. Because there is a war on the universe itself. The universe is still, healing it tested itself a long time. Like it cracked itself open for darkness to come in. And you can say this world, along with others, are part of its healing process. Basically, it can open up very extremely to the lower dimensions, but eventually it will be healed eventually, where it's just not, the lower dimensions are not so vicious. Whereas a balance, where you can understand it, like you can connect to the lower realms and not get energy attacked, mentally attacked, which many, because they don't want you there. That's why they do that. A lot of them are arrogant because they don't want to be healed. Not to say the higher dimensions are all the answers. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz to some level. It's just like there's just different areas. And the lower dimension, like the higher dimensions, would be more than happy to connect to the lower dimensions. But of course, sometimes the higher dimensions want you to be like us and do what we want. Not all of them are like that, but quite a few are like that, as some of you have noticed. And the lower dimensions want nothing to do with it and stick to their old ways and not always grow sometimes, but a lot of times they don't because they feel like they know everything. And so it's like, yes, why can't we all get along? It's not always the case, but basically the idea for this reality is so you can see the lower dimensions, higher dimensions. It's like a bad neighborhood. It's like, can you go in a bad neighborhood and not get attacked? The idea is for you to go to a bad neighborhood and have a conversation and not be attacked. Look at it that way. So you go to a nice neighborhood. Now you might be criticized or judged in a nice neighborhood. or why don't you have what I have? So there's flaws there. Obviously, there's narcissism there too. But the war, it's just the idea is for, if you want to say it from a physical route, it's like all neighborhoods get along. It's like you should be able to go anywhere and it have it some kind of, somewhat peaceful. It's not you don't have to agree with everyone, but we're not getting bombarded by mental attacks, even from the higher dimensions do mentally attack individuals too. So, well, once again, can't you be like us? And shouldn't you be just like us? And why aren't you like us? You're not our high vibration. And yeah, it's just and think about clearing, healing that. What's like connecting to like a cartel and them not, coming after you. Like you just there to have a conversation. How many of you trying to decide? We wouldn't recommend that. But it's not like you can go to a cartel and just talk to them and keep some kind of peace. And yes, they might attack maybe not you, but somebody else that they don't like because they feel like they become narcissistic, arrogant, and so on. But that's really what is there like an end goal? Well, you define that, but the idea is for you, to have some kind of, once again, balance. Because you can learn more from each other if there's not so much fighting. Of course, not everybody can learn that way. Thanks.